So my first comment would be, it takes a really good friend that's willing to actually speak at a lunch. So when Dave actually asked me to come and talk, he just said, Ken, I just want you to talk about one of the issues you're facing at the Maids, or something that you've had to go through. And I thought, well, that's every single year. And the evolution of who we are, what we've done, and where we're going, and what we're trying to accomplish. And I can relate. I want to be part of your tribe, literally, absolutely. And I'm facing the same onboarding issues that you are, Kelly, in our world. And though we're a highly mature franchisor, we're facing those things each and every day. We're looking at how do we adopt AI, and how do we embrace those particular solutions and those different processes, and dealing with a legacy system always causes you some of those pains. So I'm going to focus today really quickly. Mic drop. Oh, by the way, just a quick story. So I was in our office. There's always kind of we'll just say kind of an ongoing joke that I have a very difficult time meeting the timeline that I'm given. And so typically when I'll start to speak, it'll be like you get 10 minutes and I'll be on for, 35, 40, that type of thing. So the bet was at an ad council meeting, could I actually meet the timeline that they had given me? And everybody bet against me. And I'm like, well, that's the dumbest thing in the world. So I literally flew through everything, dropped my mic, and this is the drop mic. And I dropped the mic, and I'm out. So a little bit of history there. So I'm going to focus on a little bit today. The Maids was started in 1979. The organization founded itself on a very structured set of KPIs and a way that they looked at their business. And that business model we found in about 2019 was outdated and was not capable of sustaining us in the direction we were headed, but we were unsure how to actually move from there to the next. And so that then prompted what I'm going to talk about today. So this is not just something that happened in the last 6 months or a year. This is an evolution over the last 4 years, okay? My problem was, how do we help our franchisees understand how to focus on their business and develop a one number? And everyone kind of goes, okay, well, why? I heard a little bit of conversation earlier about, hey, we built all these 10 KPIs, correct? And we focused in on these. We kind of went a different route. We said, we want our franchisees to understand what is that one numbered item. And what that happened was, in the beginning of our history, it was RMS count. Sound familiar? So RMS in our world, or in the cleaning world, is regular maid service. That would be how many actual customers do we have that are on kind of a service plan with us going forward. The problem with that is RMS count is not a good number. And what I mean by that is, when you look at customers in our world, it was, if I have a customer that's every single week versus a customer that once a month, how can those two customers be equal? And how do I then help our franchisees understand the importance of diving down deeper into what really truly is the value of a customer, and not just that they're a recurring customer? So that was kind of our challenge and what we had to come up with. To be able to handle that, when you start talking about RMS count, if my RMS count goes up, but my revenues decrease, what is that telling me? And you're stuck and you don't know what to do. So as we were directing our franchisees, we were giving them bad direction and bad guidance and bad KPIs. Second, if the RMS count, how do you help someone focus on their bottom line? So if you know that you're doing nothing but just generating a customer count, how do you know that those are efficient or valuable customers? And that how profitable you are. And obviously, we're not in business today just to generate revenue. We're in business to actually make money, and that money needs to go to our bottom line. And then obviously, then how do you get your teams, who then are out delivering that services, understand how to focus? So those were kind of like some real subtle impacts to that process. We're all familiar with the book Good to Great. Okay, so inside of Good to Great, there's a statement or a particular reference to profit per X. And understanding your profit per X allows us to then dive deeper into and help our franchisees understand what is extremely important to them. And what is it? It's basically a what more sale item, whether it be a service, hour service, or even a particular widget product, don't really care what it is. One more sale, what additional incremental margin will I actually make? So what is the profit per X? So I basically pulled a couple examples using ChatGPT. So ultimately, when you look at your profit per X, I just went out and just said, give me ones that are out there. So you look at revenue per user, revenue per member, you look at those that we all use, Spotify, Netflix, whatever it may be, and those are profit per item. You get your revenue per transaction. You start looking at Coca-Cola. They do it by case sold. Others, Airbnb, revenue per night. You have Target, revenue per store, revenue per pharmacy. Go ahead. And then you got some others, Costco, sales per member. You have net margin, which is probably what we consider to be one of the most important things to look at. And you look at Tesla, looks at gross margin per vehicle, Ford, profit per vehicle. And you start to understand that the really players out there, they understand the importance of looking at a business through the mindset of, if I sell one more item, what will I gain? We had to solve that problem here at the Maids. We were looking for our one true number. To do this, we had to do something that was pretty darn difficult, and that is to combine financial data with operational data to be able to use it in an operational focus. And for those of us that actually have to deal with collecting financial statements, it is not a pleasant experience to get those from your franchisees if they don't understand the value of having them. Correct? Yep, so you can feel me. So, marginal profit. That's the profit earned by a firm or individual when one additional marginal unit is sold or produced. Okay? Our one number is cleaning margin. To be able to get to cleaning margin, you have to understand someone's deeper financials of indirect and direct expenses, to be able to understand all the things that are wrapped up into that to get to an actual physical margin. It's a simple formula. So an example, and I'll whip through this pretty quick just for you. If you had a revenue of $1 million operation, our direct cleaning expense, which is the actual physical cleaning of it in the home, the drive time, the gas, the vehicle expense, the insurance, the workers' comp, the royalties, the marketing, all that information would go onto the direct and indirect expense. You drop that, the bottom of that is your cleaning margin. So that's really taking a look at it from your financial perspective. But when you go ahead and click next, you need to add it then into operational. So then you take that number and you divide it by, go ahead, the number of cleaning hours. So if you can track and then cleaning hours is our operational unit of saying one more hour in the home is our cleaning hour. So if you're able to take what your unit of sold is into your margin, go ahead, you'll actually be able to come up with your cleaning margin per hour, which is our key KPI going forward from now. Because really in reality, that's telling you one of two things. Either you're going to increase more and make that margin, or you're going to increase your margin and increase more. And these are the two levers that you're starting to see off of one KPI. And understanding your one item helps you help your franchisees focus in on that. So here's an example of how we would do it. So you take your fixed expenses, back onto that same example, $120,000, because that's below the margin, divided by your cleaning margin per hour, and now you have the ability to help your franchisees understand what is their break even to hit to cover their baseline expenses from a fixed expense standpoint. Annually, monthly, and daily. Now I can tell you, within this particular example, this particular franchise would need to go out in the field and clean 25 hours to actually reach break even for the day. It's that simple. I mean, it's a simple concept, but you got to get to your one to be able to make that happen. What we were able to do with that is actually take a sophisticated budgeting tool that's attached to our financial system and our operational data, and then help them pull and add levers to be able to understand that if you're going to pull this lever, it's going to happen in month 2, month 3, and then add in the ability to drop expenses, increase your RMS, and so forth. And these were giving us the ability then to help our franchisees get very narrowly focused on the items that are going to drive their revenue. We also built repricing tools. When you get a little history and you understand this margin, you can actually apply that with an algorithm directly to the customer and understand how profitable that customer is. Very specifically, hourly, clean-wise and monthly-wise. So it helps you to truly understand of those that you should increase rates or not. And then last is real-time customer value, which I'll show you an example of. Our system for our franchisees, when they look at their customers and a customer calls in, there's 3 numbers that this is going to show you, and I'll do my best to point them out. This one right here, cleaning contribution margin per hour, per clean, and per month. That is now telling me, for us, gives us the ability to understand a true value of that customer. So often than not, you hear people talk about lifetime value. See, the hard part with lifetime value is, with an organization like us, we have 40-year-old customers. So those individuals will blow up your lifetime value unless you turn around and start setting parameters around lifetime value, and it skews you to it skews how you look at your data to what is the true value of a customer, and this is what we push towards. This was a complete paradigm shift in thinking from our franchisees' perspective. They had, and I know that in this room, I just went through it in about 10 minutes. It's a simple concept. It's a simple thing to grasp, but it was extremely difficult to get them to buy into and get them to adapt to thinking this way, because it was a complete shift in how they were thinking. So what we did to roll out this process is we started with our corporate stores. So we're kind of blessed because we have multiple fairly large corporate stores to allow us to do beta testing. We roll things through, we test them out, they don't work. We for lack of a better statement, we shit can it, or we go ahead and add some new. We then took it to our advisory council for personal pullouts, went to early adopters, did our annual growth summit. This presentation, part of this was actually in my annual my presentation. Did webinars education, rolled it out to performance groups, which is another way that we support our franchisees. And then I took it out to our site visits with our personal coaches. But this isn't it. And so the challenges that we face today still, even though we've been rolling this out now for 2 years, is that we still have an adoption of the last 25 to 30% of our network are still kicking and screaming. So for those of us that have actually rolled out anything out there to a franchise network, does this feel familiar? It's incredible how much difficult it is to get people to understand the true value of something that really gives them the narrow focus. Supporting programs for our coaches. So adding those additional tools and solutions added on to this to give our coaches the opportunity to lift it up was also very important to us. And still things that we're working on. How do you incentivize somebody that's happy with where they are today? How many people in here run into franchisees that are like, I don't need to grow. I'm happy. My lifestyle's great. But do we not have equity people that want us to grow? Do they not understand the constraints that we're under? They need to understand that we need them to grow, and we need them to lift up. We need to motivate them. So ultimately, how do I get my team to focus there? I have legacy franchisees that are out there influencing my new franchisees in a negative way, telling them, you don't need that. Just pay attention to the RMS count. You'll be fine. And yet that's a really bad number for them to focus on. And then ultimately, how do I then simplify the financial and operational systems as we integrate to new tools to make this all work? So those were my challenges. So Dave, you asked me to throw together something really fast. That's about as fast as I can make it. And those were the challenges we faced. I will tell you that I face the same challenges that you do every day. How do I ramp up a new level of onboarding? How do I handle new initiatives like this? And it's amazing to me how every day is a growth or an opportunity for us. So one of the things that we did during this time frame was actually add in choices. So we actually do a lot of data research. We have a relationship with Procter & Gamble, who actually helps us do deep dives into customer analytics. So we have a good, better, best cleaning package set specifically designed for customers, and we know the profitability of every single one of those and how they actually lay out, so we actually could be more price competitive. But we also have another one called Lifestyles, where we actually do your whole house. We do what we call is the essential, which is the 5 primary rooms that you live in, which would be your kitchen, your main living room, your main bathroom, your master bathroom, and master bedroom. And then we do a thing called the core, which is if you have somebody that cleans their house on a regular basis, like my mom does, but she can't do kitchens and bathrooms. So we have a core clean that we have actually added to our our choices as well. So there's two things that what really prompted this back in 2019 was we hit a point of price elasticity. And I'm, for those of us that understand, that's when the two axes hit, and you're now seeing, although your revenues might be creeping up, your actual volume of whatever you're producing is dropping. That means you've now reached a point where price can no longer be your method to grow. And so what happens to those individuals that are in there, what we'll do is we'll basically try to encourage them, but then we'll let them sit for a year and come back to them and show them how they've taken a dip down in their bottom line because they're no longer able to use price as their only way to grow. But if anybody's got some words of wisdom, guidance, direction, I would love to hear it. Right now, we are at a point where financials are a compliance question now. So now we're going to absolutely, unequivocally force it. Now, at least my coaches have the capability, because we already have, the coaches have access to the data. We have now the ability to show them the value of adding these pieces in. So then when we force franchises actually to listen to us once in a while too. So, and we have to go out and visit them. And so we will go through their data, even though they don't even know we have it. That's about the only way I can think of, at least unless anyone has better thought processes. A stick? Well, but that is the stick. Yeah, it is. It's our compliance stick is where we're headed. Make it. And I'm very impressed. No one's sleeping at their table. So, and I had to go after lunch even.